Welcome back to Duda Dojo, where we teach you all things Duda. I'm Harley, and today I'm going to teach you about the SEO settings and features of the Duda platform. In this tutorial, we're going to walk through the major site-wide and page-specific settings, including features like Schema Markup, Metadata, and page structure. With that, let's dive in. All right, so first things first, as always, we're logged into our Duda platform. We've got a test website up. And what I want to do is walk you through kind of the three main buckets of SEO features and settings within your Duda website. RivalMind went through extensive research to determine that we love the Duda platform because we're an SEO first company. And so I want to walk you through all the things that we use on a daily basis for our clients. So first, let's start with some site-wide settings. You'll be in your editor, and on the left-hand side, when you're on your homepage, you can go to SEO and settings on the gear. And then here you've got all of your major SEO and website settings for the entire site. We can scroll down first to SEO, and you'll notice they have a bunch of settings. Let's talk about them. So the very first one, and this is a relatively new feature, is enabling local business schema. Now, this is best used for businesses that have brick and mortar or businesses that serve a specific service area. They deliver products and services to their customers, but you have the ability to fill out your business information within the platform, and then Duda actually will automate that local business schema and place it on the website itself, so you don't have to do that, which is really nice. The next setting here, obviously, if you're familiar with SEO, no index. Every page has this, but you can also set the entire site to no index. So one of the things that we'll do is if we're doing, say, Google Ads landing pages, or if we're creating a subdomain for some reason that we don't want Google to find, we have the ability to set the entire site to no index, which is really slick. Next, a meta title and meta description for the entire website. Now, SEO best practice is that every page on your website has a unique title tag and meta description, but in an effort to keep your website from having missing title tags and meta descriptions, you can set a site-wide title and description, which is cool. The next one, and this is actually a brand new feature here, the ability to upload a custom XML sitemap and robots.txt files. And they have a couple of other .txt files you can upload as well. Duda does have an automated robots.txt file and XML sitemap. The one thing that I love about the automated XML sitemap is that it updates whenever the website updates. So you don't have to worry about re-uploading a new file every time you remove or add a page. Additionally, with the robots.txt file, there's additional freedoms that you can get with that. If you were to go to, say, rivalmind.com, and then check out the robots file. So very, very simply, we wanted to indicate where the sitemap was and that all user agents should go there. We don't have any particular areas of the website that we don't want crawlers to access, but this is where you can do that. And you now have the ability to upload your very own custom robots.txt and XML sitemaps, which give you just better control over the platform. And that's brand new. Additionally, they have features like meta keywords, which we know that search engines don't really use anymore, but you can also add meta keywords site-wide or on each individual page. And we like to use this sometimes to help us remember what particular pages are targeted to what keywords as we're going through our settings. And then there's some automated features like lazy loading of images and widgets to save on page speed. And then you can show default system fonts or default Duda fonts while your custom fonts are loading. This also helps with page speed. The other great tools, obviously, are going to be analytics and Google Tag Manager. So we've standardized on the practice of every client that we do a website for, they get a Google Tag Manager account. We implement the new Google Analytics 4 through that Tag Manager. But if you're using Google Analytics 4, you can drop your UA or your G code right into the system, and Duda will actually populate the necessary tracking codes on your behalf, which is great. It makes it easy so you don't have to get into the code of the website to implement tracking tools like that. Another critical piece is going to be URL redirects and 301 redirects. So if you're doing SEO and you're retargeting pages or you're changing URLs, this is a must-have. You can do individual 301 redirects one by one, or you actually have the ability to import multiple redirects, which is awesome. You can do this by CSV. They also have wildcards and variables for redirects as well. So So if you're doing large page counts or sweeping redirects, those could be accommodated for right within the system. And I love this. This is a critical piece of the puzzle for SEO. The last piece, and this doesn't necessarily have to do with SEO in particular, but this is just another piece that we love, and that's the ability to add custom HTML to the entire site via the theme head and body. So you can see we actually have Google Tag Manager loaded on this test site via the body. And so that's where we're going to be putting some of our JavaScript tracking. They actually have this feature on every individual page too, if you want to add tracking to specific pages. But this great site-wide head HTML makes it easy to sift through the noise of the code and get into the actual code base of the website to implement JavaScript tracking or whatever else you might need. Now, the beautiful thing about the Duda system is you also have an entire code base editor, but for people who aren't particularly versed in HTML and CSS, they can drop code right in the head and body of the website without having to access developer mode. So that is kind of the overview of site-wide. Now, there are a few automated SEO features that I'll talk about, or SEO best practices that I'll talk about towards the end. But as far as website particular settings and features, this is where you would access all of those. For the good stuff, let's move on to page specific SEO settings and features. Now, the Duda platform comes equipped with all of the basic features that you would expect. So we're talking no index tags, metadata, alt text, image alt text, H tags, HTML, and custom settings. So let's go ahead and dive into those. If we're talking about page structure and tags specifically within the editor, on headers within the text box, you actually have the ability not only to change the font size and spacing and all of that. It's a rich text editor in general. But the thing that I love about this is you have the ability to set the specific header tag structure outside of whatever your font settings are. So this is a little bit unique because a lot of other editors, once you have set a specific heading size and structure, so all heading ones are structured this way, you actually have to implement custom CSS to change the size, the font size, and everything to make the SEO work. So I love that you can operate the heading structure and the font themes separately of each other for all text. So if I want this header to be an H1, I can make it that H1. If I want this particular piece of text to be an H2 instead, when I select H2, it's going to automatically change the text, but then I can just swap it back to looking any way that I want. So I don't have to know CSS to be able to manipulate headers and the way they look. So that's a really, really great part, because we all know that page structure and using the correct header tags and organizing them properly to show hierarchy is a best practice on Google. And so the Duda system makes that really, really easy for you. The next piece here is going to be image alt text. So we all know that image alt is really important for not only ADA compliance and screen readers, but also for Googlebot as well. Google is going to be reading that alt text to be able to identify what that page is all about. So within our kind of image widget, we can go ahead and pull specific images that we want, and you can edit those images and add alt text to describe what those images are. You can do this in the main media editor and set alt text for those images and it'll be pulled in, or you can create additional alt text for images based on the page and where it's located. So I love this feature because it's important for all of your images to be able to have that alt text, those descriptive words, those descriptive phrases, on your website. So let's talk about some specific settings outside of the page editor itself. Let's go back into the page list. We'll go to the gear icon. So every page has a page URL and SEO settings specifically. So this is a unique piece. You have the ability to manipulate URLs in any way, shape, or form that you want. The beautiful piece about Duda is that nested pages and subfolders actually are not built into the system. So if you want subfolders, you actually just add the subfolder. So if I want this to be pooltableservices.com/services/pooltable movers, all I have to do is jump into my URL and add in the subfolder of services / and now I update my URL. It automatically pings me, hey, you've changed this URL. Do you want to add a redirect? It'll ask me that question, and then boom, I've now just added my subfolder. So you can actually create subfolders and category systems really easily within the Duda platform based on the page organization that you have. Some additional features. So for SEO specifically, again, the page level meta no index tag, the robots no index tag for indexing and non-indexing. So right now, all of these pages are set to index. If you turn this feature on, the Duda system automatically implements the robots no index tag on your specific page. Going down, again, these are all features that would be expected, but the fact that we have them here, and then there's even some extra little flares. So title tag, meta description, those are common. They even have little character counters, which is nice so that you don't have to character count in some other tool. You also have the ability to connect these to data, which means you can be powering your SEO specific settings based on collection data that you have. We've talked about in our last tutorial, actually, we talked about dynamic pages and how to generate large numbers of pages and content based on a spreadsheet or Airtable or internal collection, but having the ability to change your meta descriptions and data based on a spreadsheet instead of having to do it page by page is really nice. Lastly, on the page specific settings, we'll talk about the meta keywords section. Again, as search engines no longer really care about meta keywords, but we like to use this in the way to say, hey, we've targeted this page to these following keywords, and we keep a list and we keep track that way. And the client can also see this as well, so they don't have to question what keywords we've targeted to every page. There's a few other settings on the page, like your open graph image, open graph data, and then also you can set page access. And then again, there's that header HTML section for this particular page that I was talking about. And then I think the last major piece, and one of the things that Duda is working on implementing more automated, is schema markup. So they actually just released automated blog schema for every blog article. So if you jump down into the blog section and you add a blog, all of the posts that you write now have automated article schema on them, which makes it really easy if you're not comfortable with writing your own schema and implementing it. For those that are, I'm gonna actually show you how to implement that schema markup really easy. This is actually a question that gets asked all the time in some of the Duda community groups on social media, which I highly encourage you join, because there's some really smart people that are going to offer some great advice. But anyway, schema markup on a Duda website is this simple. Anywhere on this website, anywhere on this page, you have the ability to add a custom HTML widget. And so let's say I want to add my schema markup widget just above the contact us on this page. So I go to widgets, I go to HTML, and I just click and drag my widget right here. And I'm going to insert that widget in a new row. And so here you literally can just drop the script tag of your schema markup. If you're multi-typing, you can drop multiple types of schema in this widget and then hit update. And it literally just implements the schema markup on the page and disappears. And then you never have to worry about it again. And now all you have to do is then go into the code editor to edit it and drop that widget back in via the code editor so that you can see where you placed your schema. And then once you've republished your website, you can use the various schema testers, the one from schema.org. Google even has the rich results test. You can drop your URL in to verify that your code has been implemented properly and that there's no errors with it. And this just gives you a ton of flexibility when it comes to embarking on SEO and implementing the correct strategy. So everything from your title tags to your meta descriptions, your image alt text, your headers, your structure, 301 redirects, all those major pieces are fully editable within the Duda platform. And there you have it. Thanks for joining us. If you're looking for other Duda tutorials, visit our channel below to view our library and leave us a comment about future tutorials you want to see. I'm Harley, this is Duda Dojo, and we'll see you next time.